The Gloogas are the most underrated weapon in the dualie class, and they're honestly one of the most underrated weapons in the entire game. This thing just gets such little love for how much damage it can do, if put in the right hands. In fact, I'm willing to go as far as to say that the Glooga Dualies are the second best dualie in the game right now, right behind the dualie squelchers. But why do I think that the Gloogas deserve more praise than it currently gets? Well, let's hop into it. The trait that probably makes Glooga Dualies stick out the most is its damage output. When it's firing normally in its spread mode, it's a 3-shot kill. However, the Gloogas have horrible accuracy in its spread mode, so you really only want to use this for painting. If you're actually trying to kill someone, you're definitely going to want to dodge roll, for a few reasons. First, the two reticles will merge into one, improving your accuracy significantly. Your fire rate will also be increased, just like most of the other dualies. However, one benefit that the Glooga Dualies get from dodge rolling that no other dualie gets is actually a damage increase. When firing in turret mode, Gloogas turn into a 2-shot kill, making it the most powerful dualie damage-wise. It will also receive a slight range increase after a dodge roll, making it match the range of the dualie squelchers. With these benefits, the weapon sort of feels like a more mobile 96 gal, with a few exceptions. Speaking of exceptions, let's get into the negatives of this weapon. In my opinion, the worst trait about the Glooga Dualies is its lack of painting power. This is honestly the main thing that holds this weapon back. If it could just paint a bit better, it would see a lot more use. You can see that the ink spread from the droplets are pretty small, and if you combine that with this thing's slow fire rate, it just doesn't paint much. Gloogas also have the slowest dodge roll of the 5 dualie types. However, I don't consider this a huge issue, given that this thing has the range to sort of compensate for that. But it can definitely screw you in certain scenarios, and you'll feel it if you're facing an MPU damage out weapon like a K-Pro or a Bamboozler. The weapon also has questionable accuracy, even in its turret mode, but as long as you make sure that you're dodge rolling in fights, you should be fine most of the time. The last negative that I'll talk about is its ink consumption, but again, this isn't a big issue. The more you play with the weapon, the more you'll learn about how to be efficient with it. You can also run some ink saver main or ink recovery up to make things a little easier, but don't run too much. While Glooga's ink consumption isn't the greatest, it still feels a lot better than the dualie squelchers. So now, let's talk about the kits. The Glooga Dualies have 3 variants, one of which is very strong. That of course being the Glooga Dualies Deco. Whenever Glooga Dualies get any competitive use, this is usually the one that you're going to see. The reason for this is because the kit complements the main weapon so well. Splash Wall is probably the best sub-weapon that Glooga Dualies could have. It just feels like it was designed for them. If you throw a splash wall and then dodge roll into it, you end up perfectly aligned behind the splash wall, protecting you while firing in turret mode. This kit also has Baller as its special, and while Baller is considered to be pretty terrible right now, it can definitely still help out Gloogas if they're in a tight spot. The vanilla Glooga Dualies have Ink Mine as its sub-weapon, and Ink Jet as its special. This is definitely the worst of the 3 variants, since Ink Mine basically has no synergy with the main weapon at all. However, Inkjet does, which is sad because if this thing just had a lethal bomb, it might see a lot more use. The final kit is the Kensa Glooga Dualies, and these are my personal favorite of the 3 variants. Having both Fizzy Bomb and Ink Armor, you could argue that the Kensa Gloogas have the best kit in the entire game. So why is it such an underused weapon? Well, it's simple. The kit just doesn't have great synergy with the main weapon. The Glooga Dualies themselves are an aggressive weapon, which is why the most common gear that's ran on the other 2 variants is quick respawn. But Fizzy Bomb and Ink Armor aren't exactly aggressive, so you can see where the issue lies here. I will say this though, the Kensa Glooga Dualies are a lot better than people say they are. I use this kit a lot in my competitive days, and I got some great results with it. Having the ability to switch between being aggressive and being defensive is something that not a lot of weapons can do, and it can lead to some really interesting gear builds. So, as I said in the beginning of the video, I think that the Glooga Dualies are extremely underrated. Sure, their painting power is pretty abysmal, and the weapon itself feels pretty slow, but it has the range and damage output to put up decent fights against a lot of common weapons right now, such as dualie squelchers and frontline shooters. Not to mention, the Glooga Deco kit has Splash Wall, which helps out the main weapon even more, and it can assist in dealing with longer ranged weapons. Plus, I'm definitely not the only person to have this opinion. I've seen many players on Twitter also express that they think that Glooga Dualies are capable of much more. And speaking of that, there actually is a player who's proven what Glooga Dualies are capable of. A Japanese content creator who goes by the name Tiramisu mains the Glooga Dualies Deco, and he has won not one, but 2 recent major Japanese tournaments, which is no easy feat. By the way, if you guys want to check out Tiramisu and his epic Glooga gameplay, I'll link his channel in the description. Hey guys, thanks for checking out part 4 of my 5-part series. As always, make sure to check out the previous 3 parts. And make sure to tune in one last time for the final episode where I discuss my main weapon in Splatoon 2, the Dualies. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.